Guys, even I draw the line somewhere, and you just crossed it. This is Buddhist Books Podcast, episode 248, Tipiṭaka, part 164, in which I will continue reading aloud Mahāvagga V. This is Mahāvagga V, part 3. So, just briefly, this is pre-sectarian early Buddhism, translated into English directly from the Pali Language by the Pali Text Society. And, we're in the Vinaya Piṭaka, these first 6 books, the Discipline Basket. We're on the 4th book, so we've read all the rules for monks and all the rules for nuns, and we've read Mahāvaggas 1 through 4. Now we're on Mahāvagga V. So, anyway, I will go ahead and jump right in. If you would like to start at the beginning of the Tipiṭaka playlist, start at the beginning of the first book, you can click right here. There it is. Hope everybody's doing well. Picking up right where we left off last time. Then the Lord, having stayed at Benares for as long as he found suiting, set out on tour for Bhadia. In due course, walking on tour, he arrived at Bhadia. The Lord stayed there at Bhadia in the Jatiya Grove. Now at that time, the monks of Bhadia were addicted to the practice of ornamenting their shoes in a variety of ways. They made tina grass shoes and had them made munya grass shoes and had them made shoes of reeds and had them made. Is he going to bark the entire time? All right. Marshy date palm shoes and had them made Kamala grass shoes, relevant in these times. I'm really sorry about the dog. This isn't necessarily like a meditation channel, more of a reading, getting to know Buddhism, but I'd hate for people to come away from these videos feeling a greater sense of aggravation than they had at the start on account of a continuously loudly barking dog. Okay, I think his owner is calling him. All right. On the other hand, I don't want a dog to stop me from doing this. I kind of feel this as part of my mission in life, to do these readings. Okay, is he quieting down? Okay, let's keep going. Kamala grass shoes and had them made. They made woolen shoes and had them made. They neglected the recitation, the interrogation, the higher morality, the higher thought, the higher wisdom. Those who were modest monks looked down upon, criticized, spread it about, saying, quote, How can these monks of Bhadia be addicted to the practice of ornamenting shoes in a variety of ways, and make tina grass shoes, and have them made and neglect the recitation, the interrogation, the higher morality, the higher thought, the higher wisdom, end quote. Then these monks told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "Is it true, as is said, monks, that the monks of the Bhadia are addicted to the practice of three dots, and neglect the recitation, three dots, the higher wisdom," end quote. The Pali Text Society leaves out words and phrases that they figure we can fill in and figure out if we think about it really hard. I don't think it's good that they do that. Anyway, if you're wondering why I say three dots every 10 seconds, that's what's happening there. We'll do our best. Quote, "Is it true, Lord? It is true, Lord," end quote. "The awakened one, the Lord, rebuked them, saying," quote, "How, monks, can these foolish men be addicted to the practice of ornamenting shoes, three dots, and neglect the recitation, three dots, the higher wisdom? It is not, monks, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased, three dots," end quote. Having rebuked them, having given reasoned talk, he addressed the monks, saying, quote, "Monks, tina grass shoes should not be worn, munja grass shoes, three dots, shoes of reeds, three dots, marshy date palm shoes, three dots, kamala grass shoes, three dots, woolen shoes should not be worn, shoes made with gold, three dots, shoes made with silver, three dots, shoes made with gems, three dots, shoes made with lapis lazuli." I would love some shoes made with lapis lazuli, but I won't get distracted from the reading. Three dots, shoes made with crystal, three dots, with bronze, three dots, with glass, three dots, with tin, three dots, with lead, three dots, shoes made with copper should not be worn. Whoever should wear, parentheses, any of these, end parentheses, there is an offense of wrongdoing. And any shoes, monks, that can be handed on should not be worn. What? Handed on. There's a footnote. Kaki samkamania paduka. Maybe they don't know either what it means. Shoes that can be handed on. All right. Whoever should wear, parentheses, any of these, there is an offense of wrongdoing. I allow, monks, three, parentheses, kinds of, end parentheses, shoes, that are in fixed places and that cannot be handed on. Privy shoes, urinal shoes, rinsing shoes, end quote. Then the Lord, having stayed in Bhadia for as long as he found suiting, set out on tour for Savatthi. In due course, walking on tour, he arrived at Savatthi. The Lord stayed there in Savatthi at the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks caught hold of cows, which were crossing the river Akiravati, or Asiravati, Asiravati, by their horns. And they caught hold of them by their ears. And they caught hold of them by their dewlaps. I don't know enough about cows to know what dewlaps are. And they caught hold of them by their tails. And they mounted on their backs. And they touched their privy parts with lustful thoughts. Guys, even I draw the line somewhere, and you just crossed it for the first time, probably, other than like beating up the group of 17 monks. Like, be nice to the group of 17 monks. That's not cool. Never mind. Yes. And having ducked young calves, they killed them. Ducked? Is that like an autocorrect thing? No? This was translated in 1930s. They didn't have autocorrect. People, 3 dots, spread it about as well they should, saying, quote, how can these recluses, sons of the Sakyans, catch hold of cows which are crossing the river Akiravati by their horns, 3 dots, like householders who enjoy the pleasures of the senses, end quote. I like that kind of implies that touching the private parts of cows in a lustful way, that's something householders do. You should be above that. No, householders shouldn't do that either. Anyway. All right. Monks heard these people who 3 dots spread it about. Then these monks told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, is it true, as is said, monks, that the group of 6 monks caught hold of cows, 3 dots, and having ducked young calves, killed them? End quote. Quote, it is true, Lord. End quote. Having rebuked them, having given reasoned talk, he addressed the monks, saying, quote, monks, you should not catch hold of cows by their horns, nor should you catch hold of them by their ears, nor should you catch hold of them by their dewlaps, nor should you catch hold of them by their tails, nor should you mount on their backs. Whoever should, sow, and mount, there is an offensive wrongdoing. Nor should you touch their privy parts with lustful thoughts. Whoever should, sow, and touch them, there is a grave offense. Nor should you kill young calves. Whoever should kill them should be dealt with according to the rule. End quote. I don't remember if that's one of the big rules, but it's a big rule. I don't know if you'll get kicked out for killing a calf, but it's serious. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks went in a vehicle, and there was a bull in the middle yoked with cows, and there was a cow in the middle yoked with bulls. People, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, as at the festival of the Ganges and Mahi, end quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, monks, you should not go in a vehicle. Who should, sow, and go, there is an offense of wrongdoing, end quote. Thank you, the group of 6 monks, for being awful. Now at that time, a certain monk, going through the Kosala country to Savatthi in order to see the Lord, became ill on the way. Then that monk, stepping aside from the road, sat down at the root of a certain tree. People, seeing that monk, spoke thus, quote, where, honored sir, will the master go? End quote. Quote, I will go to Savatthi, sirs, in order to see the Lord. End quote. Quote, come, honored sir, we will go along. End quote. Quote, I am not able to, sirs, I am ill. End quote. Quote, come, honored sir, get into a vehicle. End quote. Quote, no, sirs, a vehicle is objected to by the Lord. End quote. And being scrupulous, he did not get into a vehicle. Then that monk, having arrived at Savatthi, told this matter to the monks. The monks told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow, monks, a vehicle to one who is ill. End quote. Then it occurred to these monks, quote, now should, parentheses, the vehicle be, end parentheses, yoked with cows or yoked with bulls? End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you, monks, a hand cart yoked with a bull. End quote. Now at that time a certain monk became extremely uncomfortable owing to the jolting of a vehicle. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow, monks, a palanquin, a sedan chair, end quote. Now at that time the group of 6 monks used high and broad things to recline upon, that is to say, a sofa, a divan, a long-haired coverlet, a many-colored coverlet, a white coverlet, a wool coverlet, besprent with flowers. Now, there's a word I haven't heard. A cotton quilt, a wool coverlet decorated with animals' forms, a wool covering with hair on the upper side, a wool covering with hair at one side, a silken sheet studded with jewels, a sheet made with silk threads and studded with jewels, a dancer's carpet, an elephant rug, a horse rug, a chariot rug, rugs of black antelope skins, a splendid sheeting of the hide of the kadali deer, a sheet with an awning above, a couch with a red cushion at either end. People, enraged in touring the dwelling places, having seen, parentheses, all this, end parentheses, looked down upon, criticized, spread it about, saying, quote, like householders who enjoy the pleasures of the senses, end quote. That's how you enjoy the pleasures of the senses if you're a householder, not the weird stuff with the cow. Just putting that out there. This is personal editorial commentary, not the text. Back to the text. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, monks, high and broad things to recline upon should not be used. That is to say, a sofa, 3 dots, a couch with a red cushion at either end. Whoever should use, parentheses, any of these, end parentheses, there is an offense of wrongdoing. End quote. Now at that time the group of 6 monks, thinking, quote, high and broad things to recline upon are objected to by the Lord, end quote, used large hides, a lion's hide, a tiger's hide, a panther's hide. These were cut to the measurement of a couch, and they were cut to the measurement of a chair, and they were laid inside the couches, and they were laid outside the couches, and they were laid inside the chairs, and they were laid outside the chairs. People, touring the dwelling places, having seen, parentheses, this, end parentheses, looked down upon, criticized, spread it about, saying, quote, like householders who enjoy the pleasures of the senses, end quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, monks, large hides should not be used, a lion's hide, a tiger's hide, a panther's hide. Whoever should use, parentheses, any of these, end parentheses, there is an offense of wrongdoing, end quote. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks, thinking, quote, large hides are objected to by the Lord, end quote, used cow hides. These were cut to the measurement of a couch, 3 dots, parentheses, as in the above, the whole thing about inside and outside of couches and chairs, all that. I don't want to repeat that, so just go read that again. Says the Pali Text Society. Thank you, Pali Text Society. End parentheses. And they were laid outside the chairs. A certain depraved monk came to be dependent upon a certain depraved lay follower. This sounds like an interesting story there. I hope they come back to that. Then that depraved monk, having dressed in the morning, taking his bowl and robe, approached the dwelling of that depraved lay follower. Having approached, he sat down on an appointed seat. Then that depraved lay follower approached that depraved monk. Having approached, having greeted that depraved monk, he sat down at a respectful distance. Now at that time, that depraved lay follower had a young calf, beautiful, good to look upon, charming. It was marked like a panther cub. Then that depraved monk gazed longingly at and thought about that calf. Then that depraved lay follower spoke thus to that depraved monk, quote, "Why, honored sir, does the master gaze longingly at and think about this calf?" End quote. Quote, "Sir, this calf's hide is of use to me." Oh, thank God he wants to skin it and use it as a seat. I was thinking something. End quote. Then that depraved lay follower, having slaughtered that calf, having skinned it, bestowed the hide upon that depraved monk. Then that depraved monk, having hidden the hide in his outer cloak, went away. Then that cow, longing for her calf, followed close after that depraved monk. Monks spoke thus, quote, "Why, your reverence, does this cow following close after you? Is this cow following close after you?" End quote. Quote, "I don't know, your reverences, why this cow is following close after me." End quote. Now at that time, this depraved monk's outer cloak became stained with blood. Monks spoke thus, quote, "But this outer cloak of yours, your reverence, what has happened to it?" End quote. Then that depraved monk told this matter to the monks. They said, quote, "But did you, your reverence, incite, parentheses, someone, end parentheses, to onslaught on creatures?" End quote. That's one way to put it. Quote, "Yes, your reverences." End quote. "Those who were modest monks," three dots, "spread it about, saying," quote, "How can this monk incite, parentheses, someone, end parentheses, to onslaught on creatures? It is not onslaught on creatures condemned in many a figure by the Lord? Restraint from onslaught on creatures extolled?" End quote. Then these monks told this matter to the Lord. Then the Lord, on this occasion, in this connection, having had the order of monks convened, questioned that depraved monk, saying, quote, "Is it true, as is said, that you, monk, incited, parentheses, someone, end parentheses, to onslaught on creatures?" End quote. Quote, "It is true, Lord." End quote. Quote, "How can you, foolish man, incite, parentheses, someone, end parentheses, to onslaught on creatures? Foolish man! Has not onslaught on creatures been condemned by me in many a figure? Restraint from onslaught on creatures extolled? It is not, foolish man, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased, three dots." End quote. Having rebuked him, having given reasoned talk, he addressed the monks, saying, quote, "Monks, there should be no inciting, parentheses, anyone, end parentheses, to onslaught on creatures. Whoever should, parentheses, so, end parentheses, incite, should be dealt with according to the rule. Nor, monks, should a cowhide be used. Oh, Parajika 1, to cause the death of a human being as to murder oneself. Okay, well, the Polytext Society put a little footnote referring to the rule not to slaughter a human being, next to Lord Buddha saying it should be dealt with according to the rule in reference to onslaught on animals. So, oh well, I thought we were going to get some insight there because I don't quite recall the rule for against onslaught on animals. I think it might be one of the formal meeting rules. Okay, anyway. There should be no, yes, according to the rule, nor monks should a cowhide be used. Whoever should use one, there is an offense of wrongdoing. Nor monks should any hide be used. Whoever should use one, there is an offense of wrongdoing. End quote. Now at that time, people's couches and chairs came to be covered up with hides, covered over with hides. Monks, being scrupulous, did not sit down on them. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to sit down on what is displayed by householders, but not to lie down on it. End quote. Now at that time, dwelling places were lashed together with thongs of hide. Monks, being scrupulous, did not sit down, parentheses, in them, end parentheses. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow you monks to sit down against what is used only for lashing, parentheses, things together, end parentheses, end quote. Now at that time, the group of 6 monks, oh no, what are they going to do? Entered a village with their sandals on. People looked down upon, criticized, spread it about, saying, quote, like householders who enjoy the pleasures of the senses, end quote. I guess things were different 2,600 years ago, because I think it's reasonable for a monk to enter into a village wearing sandals, not barefoot. I don't think that people should require that monks be barefoot. Anyway, again, things were different back then, I suppose. Quote, like how, yes, they told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, monks, you should not enter a village with your sandals on. Whoever should, parentheses, so, end parentheses, enter it, there is an offense of wrongdoing, end quote. So the whole sandals thing initially was because, what's his name, the one with the down growing on his feet, was pacing back and forth thinking, and his feet started bleeding. And so it's when you're at the monastery, when you're at your in private. So the privy shoes, urinal shoes, and the third one I forget, but they're not for going to the village. Okay. Right. Whoever should, yes, there is an offense of wrongdoing, end quote. Now at that time a certain monk became ill. He was not able to enter the village without his sandals. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow monks, a monk, if he is ill, to enter a village with his sandals on, end quote. And that was today's reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you saw this and you haven't seen any of the other ones, then you're probably like, what is the point of this? Well, it fits if you've seen Mahāvagga V, 1 through 3 so far. And even more so if you've been watching the whole thing. And I don't know, just to get the information out there, there's a lot of people who are talking about certain aspects of Buddhism. But I thought it would be nice to share the texts themselves aloud for folks who don't have them or have access to them. Even the Internet Archive. I don't know why hackers attacked the Internet Archive, probably because they had information on there that they didn't want being publicly available. I always mention that these exact translations of the Tipiṭaka are available on the Internet Archive, but the Internet Archive is down. So today, as I'm talking to you, these are only available at pts.org, or, as far as I know, here on Buddhist Books Podcast. So be sure to like and subscribe and help the algorithm to make this more widely available so that more people can have access to this to these teachings, to these ancient texts, older than any Mahayana texts, older than any Zen or Tibetan or anything. This is the oldest that there is. Okay, if you have questions, if you're a little confused, here's the introduction to this podcast. There's a lot going on. Mostly it's pre-sectarian early Buddhism, but there are other things here that you might be interested in as well. And aside from that, I will go ahead and do the usual closing, which is the prayer that my dad and I used to do every morning at the close of our morning meditation. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Until next time.